Okay, great. So I am going to talk to you about the vet training today, and just a really quick run through to let you know what has happened in the past, where we are now, and what our plans are going forward as well. So where did we start? You've heard a little bit already today about the fact that when we first started out on this journey with Action Yonis, we were very much looking at it from an education point of view. We really strongly believed that getting farmers and vets on board, getting them to understand the disease, and also getting consistency of messaging out there was incredibly important. And I think, as Dick said earlier on as well, we're now seeing some of the other countries who've perhaps gone quite heavily into quite big control schemes now taking a step back and realizing that actually education is so important. And as we see farmers and vets learning more about Yonis and becoming more engaged in the management of it, then we start to see the progress being made. So we unapologetically spent quite a lot of time educating farmers and vets before we put any kind of framework in place. And that really started off with a lot of face-to-face meetings. A lot of us spent time going around the country, talking to farmers, talking to vets. And then also what we did was launch the BCVA accredited Yonis advisor training. And that was an online training. Initially, it was 3 modules, which took the advisors through the principles behind the National Yonis Management Plan. It talked a lot about Yonis testing, why we were doing it, what was appropriate for the different strategies of the plan. And then also there was an online quiz. So to become an accredited Yonis advisor, you had to pass the quiz. I know there were lots of comments about it at the time, and I know people still find it very difficult. And I was incredibly cruel and did put 100% pass mark on it. But people did it. It really engaged people. I got lots of vets coming and asking me questions off the back of it. And that's exactly what we wanted. We wanted people talking about it, but we also just wanted people talking about the same things. And I think we achieved that really well. And when I talk to farmers now, I don't get the same comments that I was getting back at the start of exactly what Lyndon said. Like, you talk to 6 vets and you get 6 different sets of advice. You get 6 different opinions on it. We don't see that the same now. We get very consistent messaging. People are understanding how to manage the disease. At the same time as launching those initial 3 modules, we also launched the technical manual. And that was really the kind of Bible to go alongside the training. So all of the things that were covered in the modules of the training were also there in that technical manual for vets that they could go back to and refer, look at the different aspects. If they had a particular question, they could go back and look, and it would very likely be covered in there. So 3 years later, we then wanted to update the training. We have this commitment that we want to keep everybody up to date. We want to keep this plan moving. We want to embrace the latest research and make sure that what we're doing is still appropriate. So in 2009, we added 2 additional modules. One, a research update, so trying to bring all of the latest thinking together on management, testing, all of that, just to make sure that our vets are really up to speed with what's going on. And the second part was actually how to review the plan on farm. So this declaration is an annual thing, and we wanted to just go through, okay, so you've got your plan in place, you're coming to your annual review, how do you go about it? What are the steps you need to take? And in order to retain the accredited status, so to stay being a badge vet, you had to complete those 2 extra modules, and they went towards annual CPD. At the same time, with the addition of those 2 modules, we also refreshed the technical manual to update it and include those bits of new research and some of the parts of the plan review. At around the same time, we also created a separate part of the Action Yonis website, which was a dedicated vet portal. So this is an area that vets log into. So it's not available to anyone who doesn't have that vet login. So only for BCVA accredited vets. And on that login part of the website, we've got quite a lot of resources there. So there you can find the declarations, you can find guides to completing the declarations. There's also a few little snippet webinars as well. So really well worth a look. If for anybody who doesn't have the login for it, you can always contact Raft, or you can contact BCVA and we'll let you know what that login is. Again, then we were looking at how to make this more robust. So we have the declaration. We were asking for vets to sign this declaration, and we wanted to make sure that it was only a BCVA accredited vet who could be doing that. The reasons for that, we didn't want it to just be another hoop to jump through, but we did want to make sure that the vets who were advising those farmers and able to sign that declaration really knew what they were talking about, really understood what the NJMP stood for and what we were looking to achieve by it. And so what we did was we actually gave each of the BCVA accredited advisors a unique ID number. And that ID number is now also put on the declaration. So it just gives us a little bit of an audit process to make sure that the vet that's signing it has been through the appropriate training and passed. And again, if you can't remember your ID number, which everybody does forget, log into that vet portal and it's available on there. So that brings us to where we are now. So we now have 1,365 BCVA accredited vets. And if you look at the map there, you can see that we've got really good coverage across all of the UK. So that allows dairy farmers to access a BCVA accredited vet pretty much wherever they are within a dairy area. So we're not struggling with farmers having access to vets to be able to advise them and sign these plans, which was a worry that we did have when Red Tractor incorporated this, but we're really not seeing that as being an issue. If you want to go and find out who these accredited vets are, then on the Action Johne's website, there is an interactive map, and each of those little squares there actually will tell you who that vet is and where they are. So to support these 1,365 badge vets, as Action Johne's and BCVA, we have a continuing commitment to support those badge vets in education and in providing tools to help them to go out and engage with farmers and make sure that they're getting the best out of managing Johne's on farm. So what we've done is we've had another refresh of the training. So there's been a further 2 modules added on to the online training. And again, the same as back in 2019 when we refreshed it last, these must be completed to retain your accredited status. So the first module is on Johne's testing. So that is really covering kind of the nuts and bolts of Johne's testing. So looking at reasons why we test, so surveillance and control, looking at the testing itself. So what can we test for and what do those results mean? And what we as vets need to be looking at when we're discussing those results with our farmers. So how do we know exactly what that positive result means? What does it mean on this farm versus another farm? So the Johne's testing module is there. And then also the second module is based around the Johne's progress tracker that you've heard about today. So again, looking at what does it mean? How do you get the best out of it with your clients? So when you sit down and talk to your client about Johne's, how can you best use the testing results you're getting? And how can you also then use this Johne's progress tracker? Alex mentioned the webinar that was done on the 13th of July, and that is based on the Johne's testing module that's going online as well. So the module is there to do very, very similar along the same lines as the webinar. So there's the opportunity there to view that module. And then there is also the opportunity with the webinar being on the BCVA website for people to view if they missed it. To back all of this up, obviously when we've done the previous iterations and added modules, we've reviewed the technical manual as well. That's planned for later on in the year. So we will review the technical manual. We'll see what needs revising in it, what needs updating and what needs adding. And again, once that's done, we'll make sure that that gets sent out and updated on the website for all of the BCVA accredited vets. So the future. There will be ongoing training and support. We envisage that as Johne's moves on, as it does, new research comes, we will learn more off the back of herds participating in the Johne's progress tracker. So we'll have that sort of thing to feed back to you. There's always going to be things to learn. Every day is a school day with Johne's. So there will be ongoing training and support again. And we would see that as hopefully more webinars. We will look if we feel it's appropriate to put more modules on, updating the manual, etc. Hopefully, we will get to return to some face-to-face meetings at some point as well. I just thought I'd put some farmer meeting photos in just in case we've all forgotten what it was like to actually go to these things. it's great to being able to do online training, and I know we've all embraced it during these times, and it's a great medium. You can get lots of people there and you can absolutely learn things through it. But when it comes to things like Johne's, there is really no substitute for getting out on farm. And as Alex has said today, he's taken us through what that farm has done. But wouldn't it be great to actually go and see it and be able to talk to lots of other vets, lots of other farmers about it? And you learn so much by talking to each other about your experiences. So hopefully we'll be able to get back to that as well. And the other thing, we always want your feedback. So as vets, you're the people who are out on the ground, speaking to farmers, putting these plans in place and using the tools that we supply. So we need to know what's working. We need to know if the training we're providing fits your needs. What are we missing? How are you finding the process with the declarations? How are you finding the process of doing that annually with your farmer? What else do you need from us to continue to push Johne's management with your clients? So feedback is always really gratefully received, and really happy to take that through the delivery team. So on the Action Johne's website, there is an email there. So please do feedback to us. And that's me. I just want to thank all of the vets who are on here, and all of the milk buyers, but this is very, very directed, this part, at the vets. Thank you very much for the support that you've provided us over the years. And we really can't do this without you. So we are relying on your support going forward. So thank you so much. And yeah, happy to take any questions, Lyndon.
Thank you very much.